Hi, this is Andrew again. I'm a spokesman for Nehemiah Reset. Today I wanted to talk about wokeness. What is it? Where can we find out? Why is it so readily accepted? Wokeness has become the nomenclature for the ideology or mentality of radical leftist activists on college campuses, at protests, and on social media. But wokeness has not been limited to just a handful of activists. It's becoming a dominant mindset in the American workplace, in both the public and private sectors, as a method to promote anti-racism. But is this really the goal of wokeness? A Heritage Foundation panel on July 24th addressed first what wokeness actually is, but also how it has crept into corporate boardrooms and why it's such a problem. Angela Saylor, vice president of the Follner Institute at the Heritage Foundation, said that pervasive trends under the guise of equality makes diversity training in government and corporate America and schools destructive, divisive, and harmful. James Lindsay, the co-author of a forthcoming book, Cynical Theories, How Activist Scholarship Made Everything About Race, Gender, and Identity, and Why This Harms Everybody, says wokeness is actually a combination of many different ideas. Wokeness is a fusion of the critical theory school of neo-Marxism, which is a form of identity politics, and radical activism that has a very particular worldview that separates the world into liberationists versus oppressors or oppressed versus oppressors. It marries that with postmodern theory, which holds that all applications of truth are actually applications of politics by other means. In other words, the truth is malleable, based on power, and who drives the narrative of what truth really is. In effect, the truth is replaced by my truth. Certainly, believers in wokeism do not hold at all to absolute truth, especially the truth found in the Bible. Marxism is a mostly economic theory with origins in the 19th century. Those ideas led to some of the worst atrocities in world history. Traditional Marxist ideas were adopted but changed in the 1920s by Italian communist Antonio Gramsci and others, and became the project of the Frankfurt School of Critical Theory. That new theory focused more on shaping culture. It married traditional Marxism with Freudian psychology and other social theories to change the way people think. The goal of postmodernists who were part of that movement was to deconstruct the very meanings of things. Those ideas reached a new phase with the writings of Herbert Marcuse, a Columbia University professor in the 1960s and 1970s who advocated radical activism based on identity politics. But this radicalism burned out because its violence ultimately made it unpopular. The radicals then left the streets and embedded themselves in our schools and universities. It has all of the conflict theory that is separate the world into oppressor versus oppressed classes, with zero-sum conflict, no ability to agree or understand one another across those, and then takes on the postmodern understanding of truth being just politics by other means, which removes all of the brakes standing up against it. Seeing the world through that lens is what constitutes wokeness. Wokeness is a worldview which sees the world in this way. Mike Gonzalez, a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and author of the new book, The Plot to Change America, How Identity Politics is Dividing the Land of the Free, explained how these ideas entered the workplace under the guise of combating racism and why they are so toxic. Anti-racism training is a con, Gonzalez said. These consultants get paid exorbitant amounts of money. Often these fees come from taxpayer funds. Though many of the advocates of wokeness are con artists, we have to take them seriously, Gonzalez said, because there is a strong ideological component to it. The true name of anti-racism training is consciousness-raising struggle sessions. It's used to demolish the hegemonic narrative, which in simpler terms is simply the American story, the American dream, the promise of liberty and prosperity that have attracted about 100 million immigrants from all over the world from 1850 to the present. Christopher Rufo, the director of the Center on Wealth and Poverty at the Seattle-based Discovery Institute and contributing editor at City Journal, has delved into how anti-racist training, together with the Black Lives Matter movement, has invaded the boardroom, our military, and the government. This is now becoming the default ideology of the bureaucracy, and people are making, in some cases, millions of dollars offering essentially political indoctrination on the public dime to public employees. All levels of government, as well as nonprofits and corporations, now have human resources departments that have adopted critical race theory as their dominant functioning ideology, he said, adding that it's become a particularly big problem at the federal level. You have an apparatus of federal power that has grown extraordinarily since the days of Woodrow Wilson through Franklin Roosevelt through Lyndon Johnson, and this kind of permanently expanding power that until recently, at least theoretically, operated under the ostensible ideology of the social sciences, of neutrality, but it's really been abandoned. The permanent bureaucracy, no matter who the president is, has adopted critical race theory as its ideology of choice. That's leading to a change in regime that has never been voted on or approved by the American people. The result is that the machinery of the bureaucracy has been weaponized against the American people. So how do we stop this form of regime change? It is important to create institutional infrastructure to protect people from being targeted and canceled. It is essential to inform other Americans of the transformation taking place and warn them of the radical changes to come if these ideas are not stopped. The first step to make this change was the election of Donald Trump. He assigned a number of executive orders which can be used by the populace to change these ideas in grassroots America. The more we write and talk about this, the more we expose people to what has taken place, to why, who did it, how they did it, and what is their real goal here, we can start to demolish this idea that no, this is nice because people need justice. After all, part of the wokeness agenda is the implementation of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. The real goal of this agenda is to promote equity using diversity and inclusion. It should rightly be called EDL, as equity is the goal. Ask yourself, under what type of government do you see equity as the goal? If you stop and think about it, the government that is all about equity is communism. Wokeness is really attempting to bring about communism. When people talk about wokeism, they are really talking about communism and Marxism. To learn more about wokeism and its plan to talk over America, watch some of our later videos on wokeness where we dive into this concept in more detail.
This video was sponsored by Nehemiah Reset. Our mission is to assist Christians in developing a biblical worldview as it pertains to relevant cultural and biblical issues. We seek to inform Christ's followers, equip them, and mobilize them into action to vote for their biblical values and to actively engage in our culture. We are also committed to help Christians and non-believers to develop a better biblical view. Nehemiah Reset produces videos and ebooks to assist members of the church in developing a biblical worldview when it comes to cultural issues. We produce videos on key topics like public school indoctrination, the woke agenda, sex education, equity and inclusion, climate change, immigration, religious freedom, and much, much more. To learn more about Nehemiah Reset or to watch our latest videos, go to our website at nehemiahreset.org, our rumble.com channel or our YouTube channel. We produce videos every week. To get a weekly list of our latest videos, sign up for our weekly newsletter by clicking the subscribe button on this page or at our website. You can support our website by liking our videos, subscribing to our channels or providing donations to help us advertise. Thanks for your help in growing God's kingdom and bringing more people to Christ. Thank you for your support and help. Have a great day.